Money in the Bank 2025 review. I'm also going to mention Worlds Collide. My first real experience of AAA, I guess. It's not really... Well, it isn't because I've never actually watched AAA. I've seen El Hijo del Vikingo. If that name's been butchered, I'm sorry. Because I've seen him in TNA in an Ultimate X match. It was fantastic. So what I'll do is talk about Money in the Bank, but I'll mention some bits from Worlds Collide from the UK. So basically, I've near enough been up all night. So tired. That's why this review is coming out later than a lot of other people's. Because they don't have jobs, because this is their job. They have other people doing it for them, and they still complain about it's difficult to get videos out. Get on with it. So, the first match was the women's Money in the Bank ladder match. You had Stephanie Vaquer, Julia, Roxanne Perez, Rhea Ripley, Alexa Bliss, and Naomi. Almost forgot the winner then. I was like, who am I forgetting? Who am I forgetting? I think I've seen better women's Money in the Bank matches, but just some of the spots in there were great. We had like a double code red on top of the ladders. You had Stephanie Vaquer doing Devil's Kiss to Rhea Ripley. Perfect, brilliant. Okay. The actual great winner for the actual women's Money in the Bank was fantastic in Naomi. I personally would have preferred Stephanie Vaquer, but she's still new to the scene. I say she's young, but she's not, because she's older than people like Rhea Ripley. Wrestling can get very weird and confusing, I know. But all my predictions, by the way, were absolutely terrible. I got 3 wrong, but I thought I'd just go for some bold predictions, because then if I'm right, I'll be like, aha, I told you, see? Yeah, but it didn't pay out, no. But all in all, not a bad ladder match, like a bad women's ladder match as well, or a bad Money in the Bank match. There wasn't really a lot of jumping from the actual ladders. I don't remember seeing any of that, but I might be wrong, because I've slept since then for about an hour. But anyway, definitely worth watching. There's nothing wrong if you watch it or if you don't watch it. I personally think the perfect winner won, so I'm happy with that. Then we got, what do they call it, where a match hasn't been announced but it gets like announced during the show? Because during Worlds Collide there was a 6-man tag team match between the LWO, and you had Mr. Iguana, Aerostar, and then you had Octagon Jr. Now, after the match had finished, Dominic Mysterio decided to run his mouth because he was in the crowd with Liv Morgan. Octagon Jr. really wasn't happy about it. So he decides to grab him over the barricade, throw him in, they start brawling in the ring. Dominic's like, I'll see you at Money in the Bank, and I put the title on the line. I was like, so can you now make matches? Because if you can, then why don't you just put yourself in a world title match? But you know, I guess because he's putting something on the line, is he allowed that it's confusing? Well, either way, it was fun. It was nice to see somebody from AAA, okay, getting involved in a WWE PLE, even if it's like last minute and people don't know who he is. It was fun to watch. All of AAA to me are fantastic to watch. We had Liv Morgan distracting Octagon Jr., and then Dominic Mysterio was able to capture the win by doing a frog splash to his back. So I probably would have guessed Dominic to win, but obviously I can't say that because I didn't say it. Well, I did say it, but you didn't hear it because I didn't record it. So there's no record of it. Then we have the Intercontinental Women's Championship, or the Women's Intercontinental Championship, one of them. Becky Lynch versus Lyra Valkyria. Probably the best match of the night. That's debatably arguable. Debatably arguable. I don't even know what word I'm trying to even say there, but hopefully you understand. I really enjoyed this match. I predicted this wrong as well, obviously. I should have guessed. But we had Becky Lynch. Commentator said that she cheated. I don't really see how, because Lyra Valkyria had her in like some kind of like roll up. So Becky rolls through and she just grabs more of her back and pulls more. It's like, but she's not holding on to anything that she's not allowed to hold on to. So how did she cheat? But we had the manhandle slam from the second or top rope. We had a manhandle slam outside of the ring. We had the Nightwing outside of the ring. That looked brutal to me. We also got, at the end of it, Lyra holding up the hand of Becky Lynch. Becky's like, do it again. So obviously she does it again. She's like, that's enough now. Put the title on me. So Lyra puts the title on. She obviously sees she's embarrassed. She's upset. She obviously let herself down, and more importantly, other people, she believes, I'm guessing. Okay. Straight into a German suplex. I think she hit another Nightwing. So does this mean we're going to get another match between Becky and Lyra, like a rubber match for the IC title? Because I understand obviously they had the NXT title. Or is this where Bayley comes back into it? Either way, this was a good show, and I'm glad I watched this one. Then we had the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. You had Solo Sikoa, Andrade, Penta, El Grande Americano, Seth Rollins, and LA Knight. Yeah. Right, so this one's cheating a bit, wasn't it? So as you can see my figure set up there with Seth Rollins holding the Money in the Bank briefcase. It's the only one I've got, give me a break. In the last video I did about this, obviously the prediction show, I had it set up like that. So was that a sneaky, you know, I think he's going to win? No, I just got lucky in that. So I predicted El Grande Americano because I just wanted to go in a long shot. I thought it's either going to be him or Andrade because they did the same thing with Jey Uso, so the Royal Rumble. So I thought, why not? It was stupid, isn't it? What? Obviously a lot of back and forth. I seen the Canadian, the Mexican, whatever you want to call it, destroy it on top of the ladder. That was brutal. Alright, great. If El Grande Americano is Chad Gable, sounds like complete BS to me, but him going through that match with El Hijo del Vikingo was fantastic. That guy is literally a human highlight reel. Seeing him do a 630 from the ropes to the outside onto Gable's back. Gable doing a moonsault through the table. We've got ankle locks, all sorts of flippy moves. But also listening to Conan on commentary was just absolutely brilliant. Like during some of the matches, you had Corey Graves saying to Conan, like, "Whoa, what do you think he's in for here?" He's like, "Maybe a kick." So, thanks. What does the AAA Mega Championship mean to you guys? What does the WWE Championship mean? Enough said. Oh, yeah. So if he was in 2 matches, then you also had Octagon Jr. in 2 matches. You had Stephanie Vaquer in 2 matches. Like, they were definite. So that was also brilliant. But anyway, back to the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. You had everyone teaming up on Seth, everyone teaming up to take on Solo. In the end, obviously, you had Bronson Reed and Bron Breakker coming down to help Seth. Then, obviously, the odds got evened up by JC Mateo and Jacob Fatu. I was like, yeah, here we go. You had JC Mateo getting speared through the barricade by Bron Breakker. Jacob Fatu hitting a perfect pop-up Samoan drop on Bronson Reed. You're like, yeah, but he jumped. I don't care. Okay, well then Bronson Reed's very athletic. It's great. Okay, clears the ring. There's Solo. Setting up the ladder. He's like, yeah, I've got this. Okay, climbing up to the top of the ladder. A lot of people are thinking, obviously, he's going to win this, but most of us all realise what Jacob's going to do after what Solo said to him on SmackDown. Well, about him on SmackDown, saying he's all gas, no brains. He's not all there. Okay, grab Solo's leg. Solo's there trying to get up. He can't really figure out why. He's like, what you doing? And then we hear what everyone wanted to hear for so long. I hate you, Solo. Straight down, moonsault. Was it like, did he hit like a spinning Solo or like a Uranagi off the apron through the ladder? What that move's actually called. Now that was brilliant. But in the end, we got another perfect win in my opinion, okay, with Seth Rollins. I understand that you want it to be LA Knight, but what they're doing with LA Knight, okay, you should have won it last year. And just because you wanted him to win it last year, is it really the time for him to win it this year? Sometimes it just doesn't make sense. Now, I wouldn't have been angry if it was LA Knight. I wouldn't have been angry if it was El Grande Americano, because I would have been right, but you know, it is what it is. But either way, okay, a fun match. There wasn't loads of high spots. There was a few, but not like what we've seen before, like if you say like Shelton Benjamin, but definitely worth a watch. Obviously, a lot of characters did what they did. But I don't understand, though, is Chad Gable told the Creed brothers to hide the sponsored ladder. Of course, it's sponsored. Everything's sponsored these days. Even the sponsors are sponsored. It's like sponsors with a bit of wrestling in it. Okay, to hide the ladder. He's like, oh, tell me, though, because obviously we know why. But then he pulls out from under the ring. I was like, I'm sorry, mate, but if you're going to hide it, that's the worst place ever. Because the first place I'd look for a ladder if I was in a ladder match is under the ring. So obviously that goes in. So we now got Slim Jim tables, and is it Fireball, Firebolt? I don't know, ladders, I don't know. We'll just see what's next. Maybe we'll get a McDonald's kendo stick. But I enjoyed the match. I think the winner was great, fun, perfect, whatever word you want to use. But now let's get on to the main event. You've got Logan Paul and John Cena versus Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso. It's what you expected it to be, but with a little bit more. You had Jey Uso spearing John Cena off the table onto the other announce table. You had Logan Paul hitting a great moonsault. He went a little bit wonky, like with his flip, but still fantastic. I wouldn't even attempt to do that. But this one I actually predicted correctly, and I predicted the correct person to pit in the person that I correctly picked. Yeah, you'll see in a minute. So, somebody comes out, okay, spears John Cena. I thought, who's that? A few people going, oh, Seth Rollins is going to cash in. It's Bron Breakker. I knew it went Bron Breakker because Cena was still breathing. But it stands up and I was like, who's this? Face comes off, R-Truth. Now, was it a work like Triple H said? Probably not. The fans, obviously saying we want truth, you realise that bringing him back was a great choice. Either way, I don't care whether it was real or fake, whether it was a lie or the truth. I was genuinely shocked and I absolutely loved it. And I said that Cody was going to pin Cena, but I didn't predict that. I should have predicted it because I was maybe thinking it. I don't know. Yeah, but we got Cody pinning Cena, proving that obviously you can defeat him because Cena hit Cody with a title shot. That's when truth came out. Cody hits a crossroads. Probably missing a few more details in there, but either way, not a bad show. Worlds Collide probably had better wrestling in it, but the Money in the Bank obviously set up for more storylines, and I'm interested to see it, and I want to see more of it. But those are my predictions. If I've missed anything out, like there was another match from Worlds Collide, but I think I've missed, which was another 6-man tag, which was Legado del Fantasma versus, I don't know who they are, 3 other people from AAA, but definitely another worth a watch of a match. Obviously Stephanie Vaquero, like I mentioned earlier, had a match where she teamed up with Lola Vice to take on, I don't know their name, so I'm not going to say, but that was a fun match. But the match of the night, though, was Chad Gable versus El Hijo del Vikingo. And I do apologise again for butchering his name. But let me know what you thought of the show. Tell me what you think of this review. If you don't like anything in my videos, let me know so I can change it. If I don't like what you've said, then I'll just ignore it. That's what people do. Let me know what you think's going to happen next. Please like, comment, subscribe. Thanks for watching.